Stronger.
Imagine a world without choices.
Stronger.
Imagine you can't make your own decision. That wouldn't be a world for me. That wouldn't be a world for you. UIC.
Tell them we're gonna be stronger. Together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. Gonna be stronger together. Time we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. It is a natural right for every human being to be free. Free, so free. So the government is there to protect you and me. UIC objective is to liberate the citizens from colonial bondage, them regulation, them taxation. Rob Jamaica, we independent. Be stronger together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. We're gonna be stronger together. Come we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. Non-partisan, constitutional Republic of Jamaica. You see the sovereignty of every citizen should be protected. Life, liberty and property of everyone should be equal with safety. Free and orderly social market, that a way all can live and earn it. Gonna be stronger together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of UIC Liberty TV. I am Joseph Patterson, and tonight we're here to talk about a very, 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 very sad and important matter. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Prime Minister's decision to demolish the hard-working Jamaican people, some very hard-working Jamaican people. He has demolished their dreams. He has destroyed their Jamaican dream. He calls them squatters. And then he goes and he hugs them. And he says, let's work it out. After he has destroyed the homes of these Jamaicans. Good night, everyone. We're going to look closely into this and see if we can comprehend what the Prime Minister has done and assess whether or not we as Jamaicans are prepared to allow this to happen. In fact, I understand that not only the people of Clifton needs to worry, but we also have persons in an area called Lloyders Vale in St. Catherine, where the Prime Minister is threatening to deal with them the same way that he has dealt with the people of Clifton. Tonight, we should be joined by a young lady, one of a number of persons who have been impacted. I call them victims, a number of victims who have succumbed to the heartless and cruel, wicked acts of the so-called Prime Minister of Jamaica. His government has overseen the destruction, the demolition of these persons' hard-won development. You know how hard it is to buy 100 blocks, some cement, some steel, pay workmen. You know how hard it is to save up money to try to build a little house in this country. You know how hard it is to acquire a piece of land in this country. And this Prime Minister found it very, very easy to send in the army, the police, and bulldozers to tear down the people them house, and at the same time, pretend as if he cares about the people. We are going to do something very different as a movement, the UIC. But tonight, we're first going to look at what has really been done and what does this really mean. So good night to all of you who are on, and welcome. We're going to jump right into it tonight. I want us to look first at one video about our fellow Jamaicans in Clifton who are suffering right now, who are hurting right now, who are stressed out to the max right now. They're sitting on the edge. Some have lost everything that they have worked for several years. Others are waiting breathlessly, hoping and praying that the Prime Minister will not demolish their homes. Just imagine the magnitude of stress of these persons while struggling to make ends meet, to earn a living, to try to exist in the system. Let's talk about it. You can call me on 876-293-0812. I'll take your calls, and we're going to discuss this tonight. I want us to also look at one young lady in particular. She's just one example. I'm so impressed by her. I mean, she's 23 years old. And imagine she was able to cobble together $800,000 to buy a piece of land, or so the story goes. And she also spent every last cent she can find to put block upon block, steel upon steel, to create a one-bedroom house. I spoke to her earlier today. I spoke to her this morning, actually. A one-bedroom house, one bedroom, one little kitchen, one little dining room with living room, open concept, and a small piece of veranda she was able to put up. She was just getting ready to deck the house. She got the boards and stuff lined up, and she's getting ready to deck the house. She's living with a friend, trying to, cut down her expenses to build a little something for herself. And she was just getting ready to deck the house now, to pour in the cement on the top, and without it even finished, without it rendered or painted, she was about to move into this now so she can stop catch with her friend and have somewhere that she's going to call her own. And just like that, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the government of Jamaica, the people who say that they're there to represent the people of Jamaica, just like that, they have demolished her dream. They have destroyed her Jamaican dream, and she is just one of many. There are many Jamaicans today, some 500,000, I believe, who are living in some form of informal settlement, some form of so-called squatter arrangement. But guess what? Guess what? There is no such thing as squatting in Jamaica. No such thing as squatting in Jamaica. Yes, there are people who are living on land that have not been regularized. They have not been made clear. They have not been given titles to these lands. There are persons who have illegally gone in and taken up residence in even private properties that have been left vacant. If you drive through some areas of Jamaica, let's say up in the hills, Smoky Vale, whatever, in Kingston, you'll see some beautiful homes that were either not finished or partially finished, or even finished but abandoned for the most part. Maybe the owners died and the family went away and nobody is there, and some persons have moved in. Why are they moving in though? You think anybody really want to go and squat on anybody's land? Not really. There's a reason behind what we now call squatting in Jamaica. And the reason is this. It's very, very simple. This government that we have here since 1944, when we got the right to vote and self-governance, to 1962, when the same two parties then led us into what they call independence. Those same two parties that have been in power for 78 years, they have not corrected the basic wrong that was done to our people. Never forget that. They have not undo, or they have not reversed what the colonial masters have done to us. What did they do to us? The colonial masters stole our land and they stole our labor. The colonial masters, they stole our land and they stole our labor. You would think that when we get so-called self-governance, when we get so-called independence, the first thing the government should have done if it is a government of the people, by the people, for the people, the first thing the government should have done is to initiate a plan to reverse the fact that our land was stolen from us, that our labor was stolen from our foreparents, and that we, the descendants of those who were formerly slaves, should have all been given compensation for that great loss. But guess what? Our government, our so-called government, our so-called political representatives were happy to simply take the place of the colonial masters. They were not, never have been, and will not address the interests of the people who are the descendants of former slaves. So they will not ensure that all Jamaicans become property owners. This land does not belong to the government. This land does not belong to the crown. This land belongs to the people of Jamaica, and every single citizen of Jamaica must have a piece of property in this country, one way or another. So, because the government of Jamaica has failed to give the people of Jamaica their land, the people of Jamaica, the suffering poor people of Jamaica, have had to find alternative ways to try to get what is truly theirs. And then they're called squatters. The government of Jamaica, PNP and the GLP, Andrew and Mark, and those before them, failed to give the Jamaican people their land. And now they turn around and call those people squatters and have gone and demolished those people's property. Criminal. The real criminal is the government of Jamaica. The people are merely trying to exist. That's why they go up on the hillside and build homes that are improperly built, that are not designed to stand the test of time on a hillside. And when the heavy rains come, after the landscape has been destroyed through all kinds of bad activities, poorly regulated by government, then those houses wash down and lives are lost and properties are lost. Why? Because of the government of Jamaica. The real criminal in all of this is the government of Jamaica. If there are gangsters selling land to poor people, it's because the government of Jamaica has failed to manage the situation. And as a result of that, because they have failed to manage the situation, they have allowed criminals to be able to take advantage of the Jamaican people. And so criminals have gone in, some white-collar criminals and others have gone in and mislead people, pretend to sell them land, and in fact, in some cases, politicians, I am hearing, has organized to regularize these people in their homes, but Andrew no bother to deal with any of that. Him just simply send the army in because him love use army, send the police in because him love use police, carry his bad man tactics because them love to have bad man kind of government, and go bad up the people them, and mash up them house, destroy their hopes, dash their dreams, get rid of the opportunities that they have been trying to create for themselves, and as a result, have violated the fundamental rights of the people of Jamaica. If this Prime Minister thought for a moment that these persons were illegally occupying these lands, what he needed to do was to make sure that they're served notice, that they are then served with a requirement to attend court, and that the case is brought up before the courts, and that they're allowed to defend themselves and have the court make a ruling on the status of the people. Now, of course, the court may have still ruled that they're there illegally because the courts are colonial. The legal system in Jamaica is colonial. It is designed against the people of Jamaica. So what does that tell you? It tells you that Jamaica has two colonial parties, not one, two colonial parties that are there to protect the interest of the colonial masters, to maintain the system of colonialism, which continues to deny the Jamaican people the right to their life, to their liberty, and to their property. And the only way we're going to fix this, is if for once and for all, we get rid of the colonial system in Jamaica, replace the colonial parties in Jamaica, and respect the sovereignty and rights of the Jamaican people. But I've said enough. I want you to watch this, and then we're going to talk some more now, and I hope to get your calls soon. Let's play the first video of the Prime Minister running off his mouth, talking about him now bad mind nobody for their land and their property, and instead come now and destroy them. Let's play that video and see what this...
So you
this
will
was
never
Andrew
hear
Holness in 2016.
bad mind nobody for them Finsack house. You will never hear me bad mind nobody for them squatter land where them a live pan. You will never hear me bad mind nobody for where them have. You will never hear that out of the Labour Party that I lead. Because the Labour Party believe that every poor man must build his castle. Every poor man must build him big house. And we not grudge of it. We are going to help you to achieve that. That is why...
Then he became the demolition man.
That's I'm saying right now, let's say, me I go look work, just to compare work, man. And everything, see that, everything gone. Don't know what to do no more.
So the $800,000 that you paid
He
for the
destroyed
land,
the castles of
who
the
you
same
paid
poor
to?
people he said he wouldn't grudge.
Well, my hairdresser introduced me to the man. And me get the receipt, then me give them me TRN and me ID, and they turn up the receipt, give me. They send the receipt, give me. Nobody not give me no look one, no look nothing, they not give me. No, I thought me just have a and so I tell me so them a lick down the plane. Me just have to work for God work. I see that work for God work. I change it and let me go work in the mountain because me not have it because me see if it belongs and so. So I don't know if it do.
I don't know what to say. I feel so bad for that young lady. And she's the only one that we're seeing on camera. Just imagine the others. Just imagine the mother, the single mother with her 2 or 3 children. Just imagine the father who has given his time and energy to try to build his house or a house for his family. Janet Ewan said they need to take him to the international court. Let's read that note from Renard Raymond. He says, Mr. Patterson, I'd love for you to spend the time in building the UIC and making the party a viable one. Listen, Renard, right now we're talking about a very serious matter. I appreciate what you're saying. We're not talking about building any party at this particular, right now we're talking about how can we, here's what we're talking about. We're talking about a serious injustice that has been done to our fellow men. We must not be cold about this. We must not let this slide. We have allowed this squatter thing to go on for years and years and years, and we're calling our fellow Jamaicans squatters. Yeah? And we have allowed these two parties to tell us that these people are doing something illegal. Something being illegal doesn't mean it is wrong, you know. What you want to look at, is it really wrong? Is it wrong for you to try to find redress for a wrong that was done to you? If somebody stole your food and you're hungry and you go and try to steal back your food, is that wrong? It's like those people, which country was it? Which country? Recently, where we saw a man went and hold up a bank. Guess what he hold up the bank for? He went to hold up the bank to get his own money. The bank wouldn't give him his money. The bank has locked down his account, like they've done for several other, citizens in the country. They've locked down the people in their account. And the man went and hold up the bank. Now, you don't want the man to have to go hold up the bank. He shouldn't have to go to the bank. He shouldn't have to go and barricade himself inside the bank and carry a gun and threaten the people to give him his money or else. He shouldn't have to do that. The bank should give him his money, should give him his property. Right? The bank should give him his property. The same way the government of Jamaica should give the Jamaican people their property. And that is why the UIC is going to make every Jamaican a property owner. We have taken the time to design a program to give every Jamaican what is theirs by right. This is not a handout now we're talking about. This is not the UIC talking about, placating criminals. The real criminals are those who have withheld the property from the Jamaican people. The real criminal are those who created ghettos, those who created garrisons, those who imported guns into Jamaica and put it in the hands of Jamaicans, those who have been stealing our taxpayers' money for the last 78 years in all manner of scamming. Those are the real criminals. They're the ones who should be demolished. Their homes are the ones that should be demolished. Their bank accounts are the ones that should be confiscated. They're the ones who have committed a crime against the people of Jamaica. But instead, they're the ones who have the guns. They're the ones who can send an army and the police to defend themselves, defend the government's bad action from the people of Jamaica being able to respond. I hope you understand what I'm talking about here. The land belongs to these people, not necessarily the piece that they were on. It could be some other land. But the fact is that the government has not made provisions to give the people their land. You might say to yourself, well, what about the NHD? Well, what about the NHD? The NHD is not a sufficiently effective program at giving Jamaicans their due. The NHD is a system whereby the government forces you to contribute to a scheme to which you will get nothing if you do not fall into a particular slim category. The NHD only provides a so-called benefit to 25% of its contributors. 75% of those who are forced to contribute to the NHD will get nothing. Many of those persons are persons living in squatter community, so-called. Many of those persons have had to try to find a way to exist. Yes, the NHD is a fraudulent scheme. You're so correct, Janet UN. And so NHD no work. If you go to many communities, you'll hear, like we're going to see in the next video, citizens talking about politicians coming around, talking about regularizing and giving people land titles and so on. And it just seems so complicated. For the last 60 years, they have had all kind of complicated schemes to regularize and give people property title. This has been happening from I was a boy. Right down here, so in my community, just below me here in Elam, there are hundreds of persons who have been waiting for 30 years to get land title settled by their government. What kind of government is that? That takes 30 years to figure these things out, 78 years to figure these things out, when other countries come up just behind we. Singapore came up behind we. Our Independence Day was 1962. That was the year. Singapore became independent in 1965 from the same Britain, the same colonial masters. But FIDEM leadership was able to quickly convert a dirty, disorganized, poverty-stricken, transient country, crippled by language barriers, language war, ethnic war, religious war. They were able to turn around that country in 25 years and made that country a creme de la creme, first-class nation with 98% of their people having what you call it now, their people having property ownership. 98% of their people having property ownership. They were able to get that done. Singapore, in 25 years. And we have given these two parties 78 years to get it done. 78 years. And they still can't get it done. 78 years to help less than 2.9 million people to become homeowners. Singapore has been able to do that for 5.5 million people in 25 years, and we can't do it for in 78 years. Okay? I am at a loss. I mean, I don't know about you. I am very upset about what the Prime Minister has done here. Very, very upset. Let us hear the next video. Mr. Harper, play the next video for us to talk about, to show us what's about to happen to our friends in Lloydersville. They're our people. Don't sit wherever you are where you might be comfortable. You might be comfortable where you are now. Your house is settled. You may be there abroad or whatever. Let us care about every Jamaican. And a wrong done to one of us is a wrong done to all of us. Yes, I know. The 10% who is up there enjoying 90% of the wealth, they're fine. They're okay. They don't care. That's why the PSOJ oligarchy funded these two parties, so that they can use these two parties to do what they're doing to us. That's why Mr. Lee Ching get whole heap of land. That's why the politicians, by the time they leave office, they own whole heap of land. But the ordinary people of Jamaica are being left behind, left out, and being oppressed by two colonial parties that are committed to keeping us under colonialism. That's why they bow to the Queen. That's why they tell us to mourn for the Queen. That's why they run go take King Council and Queen Council. That's why they like to welcome them to our country with red carpet, because they are committed to keeping Jamaica under the foot of the colonial powers. They love to have the colonial people with their foot pound with neck. They're not prepared to release the Jamaican people. We better release ourselves, because Andrew Holness, Mark Golding, all of them will not release the Jamaican people from under the tyranny and oppression of a master slave economy where a few control the mass of the wealth and everybody else have to suffer and beg them. That's why the country is so difficult. They make up all kinds of rules and regulations to make it difficult. See, just the other day, they brought in new rules to cut out small and micro enterprises that lend money to people. Why they do that? They do not want you to have access to capital. They do not want you to be able to build up your economy. They want to keep you under their thumb. The Prime Minister enjoys being in this position where he is the bro God and he is in charge and he can decide who must be demolished and who must be locked up. We don't want that kind of country. We don't want that kind of government. And we in the UIC are prepared to put an end to it. But we can't do it alone. We need you. We need every Jamaican to get dead serious. Become dead serious now about getting rid of this government. Both of them. Let us not switch. We can't, but we're going to vote PNP. Voting PNP is voting for the PSOJ. Voting GLP is voting for the PSOJ. Anything you vote for, anytime you vote for one of those two parties, you're voting for more of the same. Yes, they will sing different songs. Yes, they will play a Michael Manley card upon you and say, this is Michael Manley party, and try to soften your heart so you can come back again and vote for them. Don't do it. Don't make them trick you. And never again be tricked by the green people. Never again be tricked by this GLP party. Is every time it gets a chance to fix this country, this is what it does. You look at the history of the GLP. Every time they get a chance, this is what they do to Jamaica. They did it in 1944. They did it again in 1962. They did it again in 1980. And right now they're doing it again in 2022. And the PNP is no better. Them just do it differently. They love to create dependence. They love to create handouts. They love to keep the people poor. And then say, we love poor people. And just keep them poor, keep them as squatters, keep them as dependent. That's what the PNP does. So voting PNP is a vote for pain. Voting GLP is a vote for destruction. And you see it here. It's time for us to learn now. And I hope we get it this time. We cannot afford to miss this opportunity to put an end to these two parties. Mr. Harper, play the video for me, please.
unrest after getting notices to leave government land in 2 months. Some people been living on the land in question for more than 50 years.
I am totally upset. Me no night. Me can't sleep.
We have to live somewhere on earth. We can't live in the sky. You understand? We can't live on the sea.
The residents, along with their member of parliament, are begging government for mercy and dialogue. Before we tell them more about that, we encourage you to support this company.
Hi, I'm Shaneil Francis. I'm a customer service representative of Lead St. Catherine at Inspires, which includes storage.
Contact us at 422-876@gmail.com.
Now the details. An entire community has been left word since last evening when several residents received notices demanding that they pack up their belongings and leave the property within the next 2 months. Some of the residents have been living there for more than 50 years. The rural community, which has more than 100 households, is known as Pleasant Hill or Hog Pond and is located near Pennington District in the Lower Huddersfield Division of St. Catherine. The residents told the Beacon that they were stunned last evening when they saw a man driving through the community handing out the notices for them to vacate the land by December 6 or be removed forcibly. The notice, dated October 6, 2022, accuses the residents of illegally occupying the land. The notice also bears the signature purportedly of the lawyer representing the Commissioner of Lands. One of the residents affected, Andrea Duhaney, said that the government authorities had been in discussion with residents about becoming legitimate owners of the land.
I'm a resident of Pleasant Hill, Lower Huddersfield, otherwise Providence. I'm living in this area for over 30 years with my family. We built our house here, have our children and everything here. Before the last election, they came in, Mr. Amos came and said we are to apply for sending application towards the land. We did so, and they sent out some persons from Land Authority to us. And they came, they walk around and they do an inventory, saying they want to know what is on the property. And they walk around each and every person with everybody's name on it. They said the next person that would be coming would be surveyor, and they're not gonna push people off the land. They're gonna do it just the way that you have a piece of land. And yesterday, only to see Land Authority come here, we expecting to hear that the land is ready to survey, that people can get a title. Only to see them come with this letter showing that we are to evacuate the land. And this is what the letter says to us by the 6th of December. Where we are going by the 6th of December. This can't work. It can't happen. We expect them to come and have a dialogue with us. Nobody come to talk to us more than to bring an eviction letter. I am totally upset. Me no sleep last night. Me can't sleep.
Another resident, Frederick Moyton, said he has been living on the roadside land since 1972 or for 50 years now. It's where he raised all his children and invested everything he worked for.
This situation can't ride through, man. This is a bad idea. The wish we live, family find this land and don't take me out. My children, them 6 children, and 7 grand now. So the condition can't ride through, man. The where we live.
I go in last night and I come here say letter, Japa, towards land and property. So we trespass on property where we live too much years. So if the government want the land or we live better, enough to just think there, just get the land severe and make it take time pay for it. We can't pay for the land where we not think there, where we not severe or we don't know how much we are pay for. You understand? So right now when we hear now, it's like a knife under my belly. Because then get the ignorant, you see me? And so if we move off a land, where we all move? Yeah?
Residents in this and other communities in the Lower Huddersfield division have had to struggle hard for decades to become legitimate landowners in an area steeped in sugarcane plantation history. The land in question was once owned by the nearby Worthy Park Sugar Estate. Residents claimed that late former Prime Minister Michael Manley acquired the property in what was his thrust to have more working-class citizens become landowners. A number of small farmers planted sugarcane on the land and supplied the crop to Worthy Park Sugar Estate. As the years go by, and in times when the prices of sugar plunged, the small cane farmers started building homes or selling the land for relatively low prices to potential house builders. There is virtually no cane left on the property. More and more houses are being built, now more than ever.
We have to live somewhere on earth. We can't live in the sky. You understand? We can't live on the sea.
Most of the new houses are being built by hard-working and ambitious young people from the area. Now, they fear losing everything. Like many residents, Member of Parliament for St. Catherine Northwest, Hugh Graham, is asking the government for lenience and dialogue.
I intend to meet with the residents, and I am talking to the government people because I want the background of why they are doing this. So when I meet with the residents, I am able to explain the government's position, especially if I understand their position. Whether I agree with their position, yes or no, I don't know. But at least I need to know. I am the Member of Parliament for North West St. Catherine, and they haven't spoken to me. Nobody has called me to say, this is what is happening, this is what we're going to do, and these are the reasons why we're doing it. Very, very out of order, very unprofessional approach. As upset as the residents are even upset.
The notices were served on the same day that agents of the state demolished some houses built on government land at Clifton in the Portmore area of St. Catherine. The residents here in Huddersfield Division, trapped in an anxious wait, are hoping that they won't end up suffering the same fate. In Lower Huddersfield Division, this is the Jamaica Beacon.
All right, I hope you can all hear me. As usual, the feed was interrupted on my end, but I hope you're able to still hear the program. And I also heard that some of you could not see the video. I'm not sure why. I was seeing it on my end, but you know, we're always struggling with this anyways, with, you know, all form of disruptions. But let's just confirm. Can you hear me now? If you can hear me, just type yes in your comment box on whatever streaming you're on. Let me know that you can hear me still. Perfect. Excellent. Thank you, Janet. You're on the ball. You're on the ball. Thank you, Chris. So, my fellow Jamaicans, what you're watching there, what you're seeing live in Jamaica right now is the government showing its full ugly head. You saw that during the pandemic. You saw some very ugly things. And they have tried to always dance around and placate us with little handouts here, little photo opportunities here, little nice things here, little nice things there, to try to get us to forget what we're dealing with. But let's be very clear. I want to remind you of what it takes to have a people in bondage and in slavery. There are three things that you need to have in place if you're going to keep people in slavery. Three things. The colonial masters used it very well, and they used it in all forms of slavery. There are three things that you need to know. Thing number one is fear. They drive fear and terror into you. And these two parties are masters at using fear. You might recall how they use fear to create garrisons, how they use fear to bring groups of people to vote for them, how they use fear to get people to comply with their draconian measures, whether they want to force you to take an injection, or they want to force you to wear a mask, or they want to force you to do anything. They use fear. Today, or when they went and demolished the people's house, they used fear. They made sure they brought the army out fully dressed for combat. They use fear. So fear is a key element to to keep people in bondage. Fear of losing your job. Fear of being hurt by the police. Fear of being locked up. Fear of poverty. So they use fear. Fear of getting hurt. So the slave masters use fear. They whipped the slaves. They tortured the slaves. They raped the slaves. They sold the slaves and tore apart their families. They use fear to control the slave. Fear is a very important ingredient in controlling people. In driving fear into them, you beat them into submission. And so this government is using the very same tactics of the slave masters. And why not? Why not? They are, of course, a colonial party that was used to get rid of Marcus Garvey. So they're not doing anything new. The JLP and PNP were created by the colonial powers to get rid of Marcus Garvey, to get rid of the Marcus Garvey party. That was the true indigenous party designed to lift up the black man, protect his interests, and give him his liberty and his right to his life and his property. That was the intention of Marcus Garvey. And so they got rid of him, and they got rid of his party. And how did the colonial powers do that? They worked with the plantocracy, which is the PSOJ back in those days. They worked with the media, which was primarily the Gleaner back in those days. And the Gleaner is here with us today. So they use the colonial powers, use the plantocracy, the elite, the richer side of the society, those who want to keep the system the same way so that they control the mass of wealth. Lee Chin wants to control the mass of wealth, the mass of development lands. He wants to control our banking industry. He wants to control our media industry. He wants to control whatever. And he's a key part of funding the Andrew Holness government. We're getting a call here, just a second. Hello and welcome to the program. Who am I speaking with?
My name is David.
David, welcome to the program, David. How are you doing?
This is Joseph Patterson.
Yes, it is, man. This is Joseph Patterson of the...
Live,
And you're live. You're live, 100% live. Sure, before you ask the question, hold on. I want to make sure everybody can hear you. My friends on the live, can you hear the gentleman on the phone? Can you hear him? Just let me know if you can hear him clearly.
Yes.
I want to make sure they can hear you. Say something.
Okay then.
Tell us who you are and where you're calling from.
I'm David calling from Kingston, you know.
Okay, David from Kingston. All right, go ahead, David, with your question.
Yes. What happened down at that place where the land thing are going, you see?
Yeah, Clifton.
You think what the parents to do was wrong?
Absolutely wrong.
Why? Because you don't think law and order must prevail in the society?
Absolutely, law and order must prevail. And the first one who needs to keep law and order is the government.
Yes, but what I'm saying, what happened down there, the people must scam by a scammer.
Yes, yes. Hold on. Yes, the people were scammed by a scammer. They were scammed by the government of Jamaica.
No, I mean the people who buy the land from the scammer.
No. The people who control our government scammed the Jamaican people by making sure that the Jamaican people are suffering and can't own property. So them scam the people.
Yes, I know that part there.
Yes.
I know that part. But what I'm saying, what happened down there, somebody sell them land, but them didn't get the title.
Hold on. No, you're missing the point, my brother. The selling of the land, the fraud that may have been committed, the fraud that may have been, because I don't know, the fraud may be that somebody sold them land that those persons were not entitled to sell. That is the fraud. Okay? You and I agree on that. But the biggest fraud is where hold on. Yeah.
What I'm saying to you, I'm asking you about the people that buy the land, but them get a receipt, but them can't get the title. So what them do wasn't good.
Hold on. You see, what you're trying to tell me, you're trying to blame the victim. The victim. Okay, let me ask you a question. If somebody had tried to kill you and you drive your car very fast in an attempt to escape somebody trying to kill you, and in the process you lick down somebody else, should you go to prison for licking down somebody in the process of trying to run away from the criminal? Of course not. So these people, these squatters, they are trying to run away from poverty created by their government.
I know that.
Yes.
Not because you're running away from poverty. You're supposed to know how you must go about purchasing.
No, all you're going to know, hold on. You know how much people in Jamaica graduate from high school can't read and write? You know how many people in Jamaica has graduated from high school with less than, they don't pass maths or English. So the quality of their education, because in 1962, when the JLP government stole 50% of the money that was borrowed to build school, which meant we have half the amount of schools we needed. And those who went to school went to pack up classrooms, which means they have more students than the proper ratio. Yes, but what I'm saying is, how can you, no, hold on, no, listen to me. How can you jump over those things to go to the student now? The student failed because they had poor teachers, failed because they had overcrowded classroom. They now can't read and write properly. They can't reason properly. They can't earn money properly. Yes. No, what I'm saying is, okay, you're not getting the point. Yes. Yes.
When I know that when I'm buying a piece of land, I'm supposed to go to the right channel.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the right channel? Hold on. In Jamaica, what is the right channel? The UIC right now doesn't. Hold on. I am a very educated person. I am well educated. I have multiple degrees. Okay. The UIC cannot get a bank account in Jamaica. What is the relevant channel I should go through? Where should I go to? When you say that's the problem, we keep separating the arguments. The argument is bad governance. We have a bad governance in Jamaica, and that bad governance is destroying our people. That is why we have squatter communities. You want to address the legality of the squalor. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Why is that my responsibility? Why am I supposed to go teach people how to buy land? Why you don't go teach them? Why you don't go and teach them to buy land? Why is that my responsibility? Listen to me, man. Listen to me. Let's stop talking foolishness. These people are victims of bad governance. They're victims of bad governance, and I'm not saying that they're perfect people. What I'm saying is they have been destroyed by their government, and you want to make excuses for the government. You're not understanding. Yes, okay. A young lady, okay, all right, wonderful. So all these persons in Jamaica who has built so-called squatter homes, are you saying that they should have the money and resources to go get a lawyer?
No, what I'm saying to you, when you go on a piece of land without the right channel.
All right, tell you what. I don't think. All right, I'm gonna stop the conversation because you're not getting the point. You're not understanding what's going on here. You're trying to ask the Jamaican people to behave like persons who have been treated properly by their government. You're saying we have a nice Jamaica, a beautiful Jamaica, with a very nice legal system where everybody's earning a good income, and they can just go nicely. Sorry, say that again. Well, what are you? Okay, here's what you're saying. Let me repeat what you're saying to the audience. The audience, I know the channel to buy a piece of land, my brethren. Me know all of that. Hold on, me know all of that. But Miss, my brother, teach the public what? I must teach the public that they must give up their right to property ownership that has been stolen from them.
I'm saying to you, when you buy a piece of land
We know that. Everybody know that. Everybody, hold on. Everybody who is educated in the colonial system knows that when you want to buy a piece of land, you must go through the so-called right channel. And that we are talking about today. So today, what we are talking about today, my brother, I want you to understand. Today, after 78 years, the people of Jamaica have been denied their fundamental right to own land. They have been denied their fundamental right to own land, and that is what we want to address right now. If they were given their fundamental right, they would not be squatting on anybody's land. All right, take care. All the best. I have to go now. All right, I have to go now because we're not going to get anywhere on this. Take care. Okay. All the best. All the best. This man here not getting it. Him not gonna get it. You know why him not gonna get it? Because his job is to focus on the fact that the Prime Minister wants us to believe that these people are just a bunch of illegal people squatting pan. Guess what land to know? Is crown land them depon, you know? The land where them depon is crown land, meaning land which him, Andrew Holness, and Mark Golding and the PNP would have us believe belongs to the government or the Crown of England. That's what they want us to believe, that this land belongs to them. No Jamaican, none at all, should be demolished from so-called Crown land because that land belongs to them. No, we don't want a careless land arrangement. We don't want a careless arrangement. We don't want people just to find a piece of land and build on it. We don't want that. But who created that? We have voted since 1944 for PNP or JLP, PNP or JLP. And for all of that time, they have not found a just and equitable and balanced and effective manner of ensuring that every Jamaican gets what is due to them by their inheritance. If our foreparents were not wrongfully abducted, enslaved, and denied their lands, they would have owned it to this very day. And they would have passed down from generation to generation their plots of lands. And we would all be okay and not fighting or talking about squatting today. But in 1962, when these two parties led us on what they call independence, from 62 until now, 60 years, they have not been able to lead the Jamaican people right back to where they should have been as the rightful owners of this land. Instead, what have they done? They have used the mechanism of slavery. They have kept the people in fear. Yes, they have kept the people in fear, and they have also kept the people in ignorance. That's what this man was trying to allude to. And he's ignorant, by the way, very ignorant. Very, very ignorant. You know why? He's only focused on the wrongs of what he sees as the wrongs of the victim. And he has no place in his mind to focus on the wrongs done to the victim. Yeah, we want to fix that. We want to correct what was done to the victim. So here's the victim. The victim has been led into fear. I just found out that we won't get the young lady on tonight who's supposed to speak to us. You know why we're not going to get her on tonight? Because she's afraid. She's afraid for her life. She's afraid for her family. Right now, she's busy taking down all of her posts online because she's afraid. What kind of country is that? Where you must be afraid to speak your mind. You must be afraid that if you were to stand up for your right, the government or their goons or their bad men are going to come and deal with you. So you have to be afraid. You have to take down your posts, hide your Instagram page. Don't bother to say anything. Don't go on an interview publicly because you're now afraid. Why are you afraid? Why has the Prime Minister of Jamaica made the Jamaican people afraid to stand up for their rights, to speak out? Last year, September 22nd, I led a march downtown, and the Prime Minister quickly come lock me up. Quick. Him sent out the entire arsenal. Police was everywhere, all over the place, because we were leading a peaceful demonstration to say, my body, my choice. I have the right to choose what goes into my body. My body is my sovereign state. Nobody shouldn't come and say, I must take this into my body. That is crossing the line. And because I led people to say that, and to say, you don't have the right to take away people's freedom of movement and freedom of association. These are inherent rights, God-given rights, natural-born rights. And no prime minister or nobody don't have the right to take those away. And what him do? Him lock me up. And he has me in court right now. Another caller coming in. Let's hear. Hello, good night, and welcome to the UIC Liberty TV. Joseph Patterson speaking. Who am I speaking with? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, tell us your name and where you're calling from, please.
DJ.
Sorry?
DJ.
DJ. D as in dog, J as in Joe.
Yes, calling from abroad.
Abroad. Where's abroad? Canada. All right.
Canada, yeah.
DJ from Canada. Wagwan. What is on your mind tonight?
I want to say this to kind of refute what that man is saying.
Yes.
Because that engineer is a little madman.
Absolutely.
I grew up in Jamaica. Born and grew 18 years and then migrate. Right? To come to school. And based on how I see the country run, there has been no mechanism put in place to adequately allow the Jamaican people to have proper housing in well-zoned, well-designated areas, in safe and clean cities that can allow them to flourish and thrive in their daily life and in every walk of life and every endeavor that they so choose. This Prime Minister calling the people a squatter. Squatting and what? If they are squatters, that means that they're on a land that belongs to somebody else.
Exactly.
Belong to. I don't understand what this man is saying.
Exactly.
Furthermore, what he said, and I'm listening very carefully to what he's doing, I'm listening to what he's saying, but I'm more interested in what he's doing. The Prime Minister, in one of his addresses to the Parliament, and when he was showing the land and the places that the people was on, they were saying that, these people are squatters and, the illegal activity criminals might be operating from the area and selling the people land and yada, yada, yada. We all know the story.
Yes.
So they go down there and destroy the people in place, right? On the basis that this is some kind of criminal activity. How come we haven't seen any arrests being made?
Absolutely.
Right? If people were scammed, they must have been given a receipt, which they were given a receipt. That's what they said. How come they could not ask the people, where is the receipt? Who is the person that issued the land to you? What is their names or where them come from?
Absolutely.
And get some information out of them and then put these people on blast on the media and to someone say such and such a person need to come into this such and such a place and such a police station to sort out how is it that you are illegally distributing land to the Jamaican.
Absolutely.
That is the first thing. I'm looking, listening, watching carefully what this man is doing, and that is the first red flag. The second red flag I noticed, if he also said in address the Parliament that criminals are living and operating out of that area. So you mean to tell me that the Prime Minister go down to this area and hug up criminals?
Exactly.
That is a strange move. How can you go and call the police? So what he's basically saying is that poor people are criminals. It is a criminal act to be poor. The vast majority of Jamaicans are poor. So what he's saying is I don't know, what gets me really upset with Patterson is that he's using these psychological moves to lacerate the minds of the people.
Yeah.
And play this Stockholm syndrome because
exactly.
he's like an abusive husband to me. That's why I'm looking from afar and I'm realizing that this man is feeling like an abusive husband.
Yeah, man.
He's like a man that's beating woman to smartness. And then when you cry and in pain and in sorrow,
him go hug her up.
Him
hug her up. Exactly.
and I kiss her on her cheek, and I say, yeah, man, you don't know me, and you by tomorrow, me and you again, man. I'll confuse the people.
Exactly.
Because guess what? What I realize and what you need to address, please, I beg you, Mr. Patterson, you need to make the Jamaican people understand the function of government.
Oh, that's our purpose.
Most Jamaicans don't understand, and this is coming from a young youth. Most Jamaicans do not understand what the purpose of a government is for.
Absolutely.
Society is, and because of that, they are being manipulated because they're simply uneducated as to how a government is supposed to behave.
I tell you.
On a live stream,
Yes.
I was on a live stream when I was talking to with a girl, it's Abs or whatever her name was, that was hosting the stream. I believe it was on Friday. And he was talking, and he was asking over the Instagram.
Yes.
The cannabis man. And he was asking him, do the state of the Jamaican people are in this mindset of this not great. Listen to me, man.
Yeah.
The reason why the people are in this mindset is because the system that is there forces them to think one way.
Absolutely.
I've stated it multiple times. So the reason why the mindset is not changing is not because the people are predisposed to behave a certain way. It's because the system produces an environment that produces a group of people that function in a way that they want them to function, and how they want them to function, in a sense of stupidity and in perpetual poverty.
Absolutely.
There's a book by George Beckford that speaks to the perpetual poverty that is faced by the Caribbean, that is a result of the colonial system, as you mentioned before, the plutocracy that maintains itself in this time.
And do you know who is the sort of cut you? Do you know who is the plantocracy now?
When you said it was a peer, so
absolutely.
And I want the people to listen. I'll state a point, and then I'm going to have off because I don't want to credit it done, and I want to continue.
Yes.
To move on to part 2. What I'm going to say is that, listen, Jamaican people, listen to me, and if you can share the live, do everything, and post it for Reddit, and do all of what we can do from right now. I want everybody to do them best because I'm passionate about this thing, and the changes on the horizon, and we don't want to just not put anything to the point. If the government or the society is like a larger collective individual. If you are in some legal trouble, what you're going to do, you need to go to a lawyer. The lawyer is not going to represent you for free. You have to pay the lawyer, you have to fund the lawyer, and that is how the lawyer now will represent your interests. On the wider scale, that is the micro version now. The lawyer deals with the micro.
Brilliant,
On the larger
yes.
scale, the society now, the political party is your lawyer. If you are not funding your lawyer will not represent you. The lawyer, the political party, will fund, will represent the interests of those who fund them. And the PSOJ, the elites of Jamaica that live in so-called uptown, with them divide up one block uptown and they don't have downtown or rural or urban. It's these same people, along with the colonial masters, that fund the political parties and those interests they represent. And somebody might ask and say, oh, is it that the Jamaican people or the Jamaican government, is taking money from outside influences? It's due to corruption. Jamaican people pay taxes, or taxpayer money is a lot. Jamaican people are hardworking people. Jamaican people go out of their money every day to make sure the food is on the plate for themselves and their family, and them send them people to school and them pay them bills and do all that, do what they need to do in order to try to keep out not only our existence but to thrive. So there's enough money that is going around, not only from taxpayer money but from revenue brought in by tourism to adequately and sufficiently take care of the needs of the people. So when the government is corrupt and taking the money, skimming out the money and packing it for them own personal gain, there's no have a shortage, and that is how outside influences like the IMF, World Bank, you name it, come in now with your little loan shark tactics now, where they can lend you the money now to tap up to take the money and do what they're supposed to do, which the taxpayer money was supposed to do, but them thief off fight. So they need to make up back the money. So them go to people who with external from the country now to borrow the money to make up the fund. And that is how these people come into the fore now and start to manipulate the politics, because they say if you want to borrow this money, you have to do this to your people, you have to pass this policy, I have to do this, that rate, and the other. So that is how the slave grinding slow but grinding still.
Beautifully said.
People, whether you like it or not, if you want somebody to represent the people, the lifeline of that party has to be the people itself.
Absolutely.
So, keep on doing what you're doing. Good night.
Thank you.
You see where from out there. You talk about the UIC on all platforms. We are trying to see if we can probably link up with a whole heap of people in the time might know this guy named Warwick is. He's a flagger, he's a Rasta man. I wanted to check him out because he talks very passionately about the rights of the Jamaican people.
Yes, and what they have to do now, they have to stop talk so much now and act, you know. We have a whole heap of talkers in Jamaica, you know. Them love talk, all kind of talking, but they won't join the UIC and get active and say, let us make sure we have a representative. They cost the PNP, they cost the GLP, but what they do, they maintain an air of unbiasedness. They're not biased. But what they do, they don't get involved in solving the problem. I want Muta Baruka, I want Kabu, I want all of these people who have been talking, Buju, everybody who are talk, to say, listen, let us get together now and own this party, as you're saying, and fund the party, become a part of the leadership of the party, lead their people that they have influence over, and say, let us get rid of these two colonial parties and their colonial system and free the people of Jamaica. Thank you, my brother. Take care. All the best. Good night, sir. Yes, that was such a beautiful rendition, wasn't it? Did you hear how eloquently the man just lay out the situation? Don't miss the key point. The PSOJ is the plantocracy now. Okay? The PSOJ is the plantocracy from the colonial era. I'm not afraid to say it. I want the Jamaican people to know that the PSOJ, that small group of rich elites who have funded these two colonial parties, who have funded them, are responsible for the Jamaica you see today. And a vote for either of those two parties is a vote to maintain the control and power of the PSOJ over the people of Jamaica. Good evening and welcome to the UIC Liberty TV. This is Joseph Patterson. How are you? Wonderful. What's your name, sir?
Okay. Who's Davis, man?
Davis. And where are you calling from, Mr. Davis?
I'm presently in Oklahoma, USA.
Wonderful. Good to hear from you. What you want to tell us tonight?
Well, Mr. Patterson, you know, I've been following this program from quite a while. And I find you very, you know, outspoken. I like your hard stand and situation like this, you know. And I wish to commend you on your work so far.
Thank you.
Mr. Patterson, what I've been seeing right now, I've been watching the same thing that the young man talk about with that life you have. And I can tell you straight up right now, do not look for, I am not bashing anyone, but do not, it would be a surprise if they call you back on that program. I watch it carefully and I think that they've been trying to pick on something to laugh at, to make it look like you don't know what they're saying.
Yes.
Right? But Mr. Patterson, let me tell you something. We are standing behind you. We are standing behind you, beside you, around you, Mr. Patterson.
Yes, thank you.
I am planning to come to Jamaica to make sure I get my voting ID back up. I have thrown up on voting. I'll vote PNP. I'll vote GLP. Let me tell you something, Mr. Patterson. I'm a person who I even get need a small contract to give out and road to whenever time it rains to clear what they call culverts. And I can tell you clearly, sir, I'm from St. Catherine in Nathaniel, Nita Headley constituency. And whenever time that the money come around to clean the culverts, before the money reach down to the person like me who is going to deal with people, The money cheer up almost 3 times already. And because I take a stand and say that this can't work because the money is not enough to clean the cupboard. You know what I have to do? I have to go to the people and explain to them, and they take a price cut to make sure I can clean all the cupboard. The councillor told me that I'm stupid. I should clean 2 of the cupboard and put the rest of the money in my pocket if I don't know how politics work. And I said, no, I'm not doing. I live in this community, right? And I'm doing the work to benefit the community. So this is a whole corruption right across. You understand me?
Yes.
And I grew up and I said I would never vote again. I campaigned for Mr. Andrew only the last time because I said I want to get rid of the PNP. He came in as a young person, as we found that he was better, and my God, he's worse. When I look right now and see what happened to the people keep on saying, I agree that they acquired the land the wrong way. But just like what you are trying to tell the people, you don't condone in wrongs. That's what they're trying to make it look like you condone wrong. No. You are trying to tell the people that, listen, to get a lawyer, you know how to acquire land, but most of these people can't afford it.
No.
Right? And you're trying to let people know that, listen, regardless of that, they might not have the money to get lawyer to go to the right proper channel. They are desperate. Desperation causes people to do desperate things.
Yes.
People will, and I would appreciate someone capture a land to build a house, to put his children in, than for a word his father to leave his children on the street unprotected.
Hey, Mr. Davis, you know that the politician them in Jamaica, them capture a whole heap of land?
Right now, I won't call it. I do.
Me not call the name, you know. Yeah, but them capture. Me know one politician in the area where me live. One politician. When he went into politics, he was a technician at Appleton. Okay, when he went into politics, a technician at Appleton. He never have no other advantages more than any other Jamaican except that he got a chance to represent a particular party and won a seat as an MP. And by the time he left politics by force, nature took him out of politics. By the time he left politics, he had scores of acres of land. And now his wife and children today are enjoying those properties handed down to them. Okay? While these people who the Prime Minister just demolished, they were not fortunate enough to have anybody in a politics in previous years to have captured land through the political system to be able to hand that down to them so that they could have a piece of land now to build on. But several of our politicians have been able to capture taxpayers' resources, capture taxpayers' land, capture the future of Jamaica and harness it to themselves, and are today enjoying the fruits and coming to talk about them naga, envy, or bad mind nobody for what them have. When they have bad-minded the Jamaican, you know who the bad mind? The bad mind the colonial masters, because they want to be masters like the colonial masters. They want to be masters over the Jamaican people. And so now they are masters. And they have been sucking the wealth of the Jamaican people and leaving the mass of people in poverty. And that we have to stop.
Oh, absolutely, sir. And that is the reason why I took time out to call. Right, but they're not coming forward, Mr. Patterson. I'm supporting you, sir. And I'm hoping that we want to make sure that people, length and breadth of Jamaica, come on board. This is our last opportunity. This is the last parados. If we make this get away, Jamaica done.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
Them no sister that in the beach there we can go to Jamaica.
Exactly.
What it will take? What is it going to take for Jamaican people to take them out of the trough?
In a few years, Mr. Davis, You will not be able, as an ordinary Jamaican, to walk onto a nice piece of beach in this country. You will be locked out by the colonial powers who own those property, by those who they sell those properties out to, and you will have to settle for some little dingy area that you can find, if any, because by the time they finish, all of that will be taken. Yes.
Whenever time it is dingy and terrible, they close it down.
Yes. Yes.
Right now, it is happening to Donald's River, and I'm wondering to myself, what is it going to take for people to wake up? And you know what happened? What happened to what I realized? Most Jamaicans, and I'm sorry to say this, but I'm a Jamaican too, and I hate to say it, but it's true. We don't look at future, we look at today alone.
Yeah,
what? Today.
Yeah, well, eat the food today.
Next month, next year. You know?
But it's by design. It's by design, you know. It's by design.
We have a former member of parliament right now. He used to be in St. Thomas. I've watched, because I'm in America. I'm in America, but I watch my Jamaican news every day. How we are what happened in Jamaica, more than plenty Jamaican right now, live in Jamaica. That man capture amount of land in St. Thomas right now. Right?
Yes.
So like I said, I'm not going to call any name on the program. I respect your platform. I ain't going to try to destroy it. You understand me?
Yes.
And that's what, and his children, his grandchildren will be enjoying it. They will never be so-called squat, because he already stole it for them. What about there was a people in Jamaica that don't have that privilege, just like what you just mentioned?
Do you know, Mr. Davis?
The man. Yes, sir.
Do you know that our very own Prime Minister set up offshore company to own land in Jamaica?
Oh my God, I want to surprise.
And why him do that? You know why him do that? Him do that so that him can escape the very taxes he's charging the Jamaican people.
All right, guys, it seems as if Mr. Patterson's signal has dropped. Hopefully we can get him back as soon as possible. I'm trying to reach out to him to get him to come back on, but yeah, this is a serious situation, people. A very serious situation, and oh boy, it's like slavery all over again, you know. Okay, here he is.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Harper. The gentleman there a while ago, another caller hitting the nail on the head. We've had 3 callers so far. One caller is more concerned about the legality of the squatters, how legal they were in acquiring the land, and the other 2 callers were very sane and sensible and understand fully what is going on here. I saw somebody write on the thing a while ago. One of the messages I saw on the board is a person stating that one of the vloggers, you see many vloggers, right, that are on these social media platforms, many vloggers, and nothing is wrong with that. They are doing a job where they are sharing content, and people donate to their efforts, which I think is quite fine. And they also make an income from how popular their shows are. You know, how popular it is. They get some money from YouTube and so on, which is quite fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That is quite fine. That's good. But the person who commented here made a very important point. Persons will donate to those things, those bloggers, which is fine, not realizing though how important it is for them to donate to the UIC. We need 1,000 persons giving $25 a month so that we can have 228 councillor candidates and 63 MP candidates to represent you. We are your macro lawyer. We are going to represent you in the House of Parliament and demolish the system of colonialism. Okay? So if you don't fund us, we won't be equipped to represent you properly. Good evening and welcome to UIC Liberty TV. This is Joseph Patterson. Who am I speaking with?
This Makala.
Makala. Where are you calling from, Makala?
I'm calling from New Jersey.
Respect, my brother, from New Jersey. Which part of Jamaica you come from?
St. Catherine, the borderline of St. Catherine and Clarendon, Velasquez.
All right, big up. So I'm sure you're calling in because you're concerned about the Prime Minister's demolition project.
Yeah, but me have a page. We have a page. A lot of stuff me have on the page. When you have a time, you check it out.
What your page name? Tell me about it.
Yeah, Curtis Makala.
Curtis Makala. All right, everybody, go check out Curtis Makala after this. Eh? When we're done, check out Curtis Makala and see where I'm have on him page.
Look here, one night I got me bed and me just stay on. And show me as we are listening. A long time me are listening. Me bring,
Yes.
and me have say, just a listen still for show them as we are saying that third party can win in Jamaica, you know?
Yes. Yeah, man, but tell you, listen, Makala. No third party can win in Jamaica. Me can tell you that too. There's no third party that can win in Jamaica unless we, the people of Jamaica, decide for fund it, join it, and vote for it. If we decide as a people that listen, we go and sit down and wish and hope and pray the UIC win, and we sit down on the sideline and I watch. I hope UIC win. I hope UIC win. Guess what? UIC going to lose lock, stock, and barrel because we can't win. No lawyer can go to court and represent you unless him have food, unless him have clothes, unless him have somewhere to live. So if you don't help to make sure say him have food in his belly to go to court, to go represent you, and can drive to court and can spend time to research and go do the work and represent you, then the lawyer going to fail. As a matter of fact, no lawyer going to take a case. They can't pay him unless it's a pro bono case and him already rich. But we the people, if we the people want a new Jamaica, we the people going to have to pay for it. We have to fund the UIC, join the UIC and volunteer. But I know you had some things to say. Go ahead and say it.
Yeah, but the people, they need to wake up.
Yes.
They don't need for an election come again. They just need to come out and just go march and get them out. It's too irate them.
Absolutely. I'm ready for that. I was hoping that September 22nd last year, when I went out on against the attack on the people of Jamaica by the government. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I was hoping the whole country would have come out. You know. Honestly, I was hoping we'd have 1 million people. No police couldn't touch me if we have 1 million people. I was hoping 1 million people to come out and block up the whole of the road and say there's no way that we're going to allow Andrew Holness to get away with this. And instead, you know what they do? Whole heap of people stay home and I watch on TV and I watch on YouTube and I watch and I wait and I see and I hope. How it gonna go? Let me see how it gonna go. It's got the exact way it for go. If you don't come out, it's gonna go that way. They're going to lock up the prophet. How do you think they got rid of Marcus Garvey? If the people of Jamaica had stood up and defended Marcus Garvey, we wouldn't have JLP and PNP today. We would have had the People's Political Party, and it would have run out the colonial powers that out of Jamaica, would have built strong industries, would have given the people their land. There wouldn't be any squatters in Jamaica if Marcus Garvey had won. If we had allowed him, if we had supported him and make sure, so the PPP, the People's Political Party, under Marcus Garvey, had succeeded from the 1930s, 1932, 1934, 40, and 80. If we had allowed that to happen, we wouldn't be here today. But we didn't fix it. We didn't support Marcus Garvey enough. And so here we are today. Let us not make the same mistake again.
Yeah, but that's why we say the people them have to get serious, man. And them have to come out. If they really say they love their picnic and then grand picnic and then great grand picnic, them have to get rid of them two party.
Absolutely.
Right now, me see, I don't know, joke thing me at that. A vision this. For me, that me was not like a social media person and stuff like that. But me I say, just go me bed and me I pray and say when Jamaica gonna get better. For me I fought the food. And the Prime Minister 50.
Yes.
So in just what, 6 years older than me. And for me I look up who me here people about. Them a ball about bad road, them a ball about
Same thing. What has changed? What has changed? What has changed in 60 years, really? What has changed? Well, there are changes. You know, the place look different to them, and I'll tell a lie. Some places look different, but the underlying condition remain the same. The politicians and their friends that fund them from the PSOJ continues to own 90% of the wealth of this country. And they leave the mass of people to subsist on the 10%. All the money that they take from us in taxes, all 45% of the GDP that goes into government, if that money was spent on the people of Jamaica and in the interest of the people of Jamaica, we would not have a single squatter in this country today. Not one. Yes.
Since we come in this country, I know that I'm not lying. Since we come in this country, we really find out that Jamaica is so nice. I never know that Jamaica is so beautiful.
Yes. Very beautiful.
Jamaica rich. For me, I look up where they might go to gold and balance game.
When
they do with all of those money where they mine, where the people give them where they mine.
You know, the mining operation in Jamaica, the ultimate impact of the mining operation in Jamaica is loss of our land, loss of our biodiversity, and loss of our health. The cost to the Jamaican people of bauxite mining far outweighs every cent that is made by the government of Jamaica. The cost to us, the cost in lives, the cost in health, the cost in our biodiversity, the richness of our land, the cost to our water quality, okay? All of those costs by far exceed the little bit of so-called dollar benefit that the government may get from mining. The vast majority of that dollar value, by the way, the benefit in dollars, are made by those who extract the ore and take it and make it into higher products and sell it on the world markets, okay? We don't see any of that. But the cost, the entire cost of that is borne by the people. We don't hear about it because you don't hear about the amount of cancers. You don't know about the families who are suffering. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, man. You don't know how much farmland has been destroyed. You don't know how much that has impacted our food security. You don't know how much of our food has been poisoned by the excrement, if you will, that has come from their plants. You don't know how much of our waterways have been damaged. You don't know how much people have drank that water and eat the fish that has been contaminated by this thing. You don't know how much farmers, my God, we have no idea because nobody is tracking this. The government of Jamaica doesn't care about the impact on the people of Jamaica. All they care about is whatever money they get to be able to play politics with and to thief. But the real impact of bauxite mining, the real damage that is being suffered, the people who are going to hospital with all kinds of ailment to our bad hospitals and go there and suffer, all kind of stuff. This growing out here, so that growing out here, so surgery that they can't afford, medications that they can't afford, children dying, asthma attack, and we don't see none of it because there is no organized effort to go and document all of this and report this to the people like how they reported COVID. Remember every day how much people get the virus, how much people dead from not taking it. And they zero in and trying to scare us into this injection. But they won't zero in. They won't zero in. Yeah, go ahead. Yes. Yes.
They get money. That's why.
Exactly.
The more people that report, and the people that. That's why. More time I just be a fool in this.
So him no care. So him no care. When him talk about when him talk about lives, he cares about lives and livelihood. Foolishness. What him care about is money. So because the colonial masters promise him money to treat the Jamaican people a certain way, to push the Jamaican people in a certain direction, to inject the Jamaican people with a certain injection, because the colonial masters are pushing that and are willing to give him money, which then can be diverted into the pockets of different people and make them richer to build bigger walls and bigger houses with bigger chandeliers and nicer lawns. Because they're getting that money, then they zero in and on obeying the colonial masters, and they would do anything to the Jamaican people. They will string us up and shoot us if that's what it takes to get the monies from these people. And so that prime minister, that government, opposition and government, that entire system is not about we the people. It is about them and them against the people of Jamaica.
But that's why the people for just 63 person, they can't make 60 piece church of a world country.
Exactly, at ransom. I hear the they have a lady that used to be Attorney General and who talks about legal matters. I hear her in the parliament. They're trying to justify why they want to take away more of the Jamaican people's rights. And she says we have to balance national security with freedom and dignity. By the way, I'm borrowing words from UIC, you know, because we talk about oh. Yes.
It's time now. The PNP we with it now.
Yes, the PNP have it now. Everything was said. They're like parrots. I call them parrots and puppets. Yes.
If there was going to do everything what you talk about, what you gotta do, would that be good?
Oh yes. I'd be glad. If tomorrow I get a call from Andrew and Mark and say, look, Mr. Patterson, we now want to enter this era here where we have all of this disagreement and stuff. Would you sit down with us and let us implement the UIC 10-point plan? Me give up politics. I'd be very happy. I sit down with them and work it out and make sure and oversee the process that we implement the 10 points. But done. I don't need this. I don't want to be in this. You know how much time this takes? Yeah. Yes.
You don't want nothing for you. You lose contract.
Me lose $4 million one time. $4 million in just one arrangement. Yeah. Yeah. The time I spend on UIC, if I were to spend that time, spend this amount of time on my business and all the other stuff that I can do, I'm good. I don't need to do this. But unfortunately,
you're just doing it for the people, but they're not getting it.
If I don't do this, here's what keeps me doing this. If I don't do it, who going to do it? I mean, I'm looking around and I wish some people would get up. There are some people who used to be a part of the UIC, you see? They used to be part of this. And then them say that I'm a bad leader. That they say all kind of stuff, right? And I say, no problem. Why is it them not going to do this? Why is it they don't go and create something and go and defend the Jamaican people, put together a program and make sure, instead they're busy trying to criticize me. Stop the criticism, jump on board and let us get this country out of this rut. That's what they need to do.
But look here again to where women don't understand. One time, the Rasta, all of the singer they were hold, they used to sing for poor people and this and that. I don't hear them saying nothing.
Yes. Yes.
Buju and Barcode and all of them attack us and they love poor. So if you love poor people so much, why you not doing nothing for poor people?
They just talk, pure talk. I mean, when I was a boy growing up, I used to listen to Mutty Perkins, Ronnie Twaits, Barbara Gluten, and all of them. And I used to listen to them, and I listen. Then I said to my mother, I mean, I was always a troublemaker, I said to my mother, Mommy, all them people that just chat so much and them not do nothing. What if them know all the problems, if them understand all the stuff, if them realize all the problems, why they don't organize a movement and just kick out them people and fix the problem? And I watch it all the way to now I am an old man. I am now 51 years old. And I'm like, all of them chatting there from the 1970s, the 1980s, the 1990s, the 2000s, and now we're in 2022. And them still a chat. Instead of getting involved, organizing themselves. All of the intellectuals them out there, all of who know everything, who can talk big talk and whole heap of nice language and can pronounce every word properly and know everything, and they went to university, master's degrees, PhDs, double PhDs for some of you. Why you don't come and get involved and help to fix the problem? Or is it that you stick to the gravy train too? You're a part of the problem.
They have their money. After a while, money changes.
Yes.
Money is a thing like this. When a person understand, some people have bad ways, and the more money they have, is the more bad things they do.
Yes.
For them, they born like that. So sometimes the money don't.
Nobody don't want to pay the sacrifice, man. Listen, nobody don't want to pay the sacrifice. They don't want nobody to cut them off on the contracts. They don't want to not be able to get the government jobs and offer. We have had people in the UIC working for us, and they come and call them and give them job, and then they stop working. They get position with the government, and so they stop working. You understand? Yeah.
But when they don't understand, the plan where you have for Jamaica, when you win, and you put in, if we gotta win, when you win, and you put in that the plan there, and when there's a 10-year come, then they will wish they never vote out these two parties a long time.
Exactly. The UIC model of governance, it is so transparent. Look on it. If you vote for the UIC and the UIC wins, and the UIC put in place our new governance model, look what happened. We now have elected senators, no longer puppets appointed by the prime minister and opposition leader. We now have MPs who live in their constituencies and can only get elected by the people. No big money can control them because we lock off that avenue. We separate the executive branch. So we only have qualified and competent persons now serving as minister. You must be a subject matter expert. You understand? Just that alone should tell you that the UIC is supremely different. Now you're going to elect directly your leader. The president of the country will be elected by the people, not by a party, but as an individual. You understand me? And you're going to have your counties being represented by a VP elected by the people. So now we have proper separation of duties, proper separation of power, proper checks and balances. What more you want? You can't want more than that. And on top of that, we, the UIC, is making it mandatory that every Jamaican who wants to becomes a property owner. So no more squatters, no more ghettos, no more garrisons, because we're going to give the people what is their due. We're going to make all of Jamaica a tourist resort. So the whole Jamaica will look like a tourist resort, smell like a tourist resort, feel like a tourist. And guess what? Even though it smell and look and feel like a tourist resort, it is not for the tourists. It is for you, for we the people. And then now the tourists can come here and enjoy it. We're going to free up ganja. No more plating, no more government blocking you from getting access to grow and produce. Yes. Exactly. It's just token. And what the real criminals, them, oh my goodness. But here what? So back to the plan. We're going to make sure that ganja is completely decriminalized, and you don't need no big license, no whole heap of money, expensive license. You can grow, you can produce, you can package, and you can sell, because that is your God-given right. No government should not tell you that no plant is illegal. All they have to do is to regulate the economy so nobody can use force or fraud to get their way. Nobody, rich or poor, middle class or not, you cannot use force or fraud. But rather, we have a country that ensures it is safe, good policing, it is clean, beautiful, and it is orderly, and every single citizen is empowered to live, earn, and retire with dignity in them own country. We don't have to run away no more. We don't have to be economic refugees no more. We can stay right us up and build up ourselves here.
And build yourself, man. But look here now. But look how much states over here legalize it. I think about 20 to 21 states.
Yeah. Yeah.
And right now, which family we can go right on the corner, you know. The smoke shop go by.
Yeah, no problem. And we are here still locking up people for ganja. We're here. Everything, you know what we do in Jamaica? Our laws are dictated by the colonial masters. So when them want, they say, put the law upon the people them in Jamaica. Put the law upon them. Put the law upon them. Instead of we the people saying, what kind of country we want? What kind of laws we want? Instead of we generating our own laws, we are following whatever some colonial people tell us to do. It's time for us to stop. I mean, anyways, I've kept you long enough. Thank you so much for joining us. Next time, we have to go now, here. All the best.
Okay, all right. Have a blessed one. Yeah, you're from.
Same to you, my brother. Yeah, man. Thank you. Take care. All right, people. We're well past our time now, and our staff and supporters need to go to their bed. But let me take some quick comments and questions here. I want to tell you one thing before I go, though. I was trying to say this earlier on. 3 ways to keep people in slavery: fear, ignorance, and poverty. 3 ways to keep people in slavery: fear, ignorance, and poverty. And that's what they've done with the Jamaican people. They have you being fearful. That's why the young lady couldn't come on tonight. She's afraid. They want you to live like that. Ignorance. That's why they were able to manipulate people and get them to pay for land and all kind of stuff, right? All kind of ignorance. The gentleman before didn't want to, he wants me, him saying, I must use my time to go teach people how to buy land properly. That's not my responsibility. The government of Jamaica runs our education system. So if people don't know how to buy land properly, blame the government. If the people in Jamaica are not properly educated, blame the government. If their productivity is low, blame the government. If their mentality is low, blame the government. Because the government of Jamaica controls the education system, and it controls the economic system, and it controls the justice system, and it controls the policing system. So nobody shouldn't get to build any house illegally here, because immediately when somebody starts to do something illegal, the government should have gone there and said, you can't do that, you're trespassing, and should bring them to court, and the court resolves the matter. You don't go bulldoze people home, Andrew. That is wrong. You don't go and just destroy people's property. You go to court. We know you don't like to follow rules, you know. You want us to follow rules, but you have always been trying to dodge around the rules. That's why you had undated resignation letters for your senators. That's why you tried to make the Chief Justice into a temp as opposed to a proper Chief Justice. We know your approach. That's why you created the DMRA, or put the DMRA as the means of dealing with your forced vaccination program, as opposed to going through the methods that were outlined in the Constitution for states of emergencies of this nature. So we know that the Prime Minister doesn't like to follow rules, but he loves to give other people rules. He loves to force other people. And it's time for us to force him out of Gordon House. It's time for us to say, time up. And the time to come for PNP. Time to come for you. Your time is up too. PNP time is up. GLP's time is up. And it's now time for the people of Jamaica. A few time now. Not even UIC. Few time. The people time now. It's time for us to have a system that works for us, that will respect our right to life, liberty, and property. Mr. Harper, do we have any questions here tonight? Do we have any questions? I see. So we're going to, come on, Mr. Harper, come read them thing here for me. My throat will burn me now. Come read for me and tell me what these people are saying. Come on.
Coming on. Okay. Can you?
Can hear you loud and clear.
All right. So we're going to swap the Westminster style of government for the American style. That is like swapping black dog for monkey. Definition of insanity: doing the same thing and expect a different result.
Patrick Patterson, no, we're not going to swap the Westminster system for the American style system. We're doing something better. But following your logic though, if we were to adopt the American style of system, as you're suggesting, the last time I checked, America is one of the richest countries in the world and controls the world reserve currency. So if you're saying it's not a good idea for us to adopt what has made another country very rich, that's very rich of you to say that. In any event, the UIC has not adopted the American system. Our system is quite different. Yes, there are similarities. All governance models across the world have similarities. So yes, we're going to have a president, but our president will operate under different rules than the US president. Yes, we're going to have an elected Senate, but it's different from the American system, for example, does not have a 100% publicly funded system. It is a private system, just like Jamaica, where the rich gets to control the politicians. It's also a partisan system. The UIC system is a non-partisan system. So we're very different. So not because there are similarities means we're the same. For example, we're also going to adopt many things that Singapore has done, but our system will be very different from Singapore because at the foundation of our system, we're absolutely protecting your individual sovereignty, your right to your life, liberty, and property. So we're not the same, Jim.
Mr. Patterson, would it be possible to get an interview with Muta? I know you was on Kabu program before. She even had a march for the beaches that they are stealing.
I'm more than happy to have an interview with Muta and any other influencer, blogger, or whatever. Anybody who wants to interview me, I'm happy. I think I got a call today from one prominent radio station. They want me to talk about the central bank, CDBC, central bank digital currency. So I'll be on their program, for example. So if Muta wants me, I'm here ready to speak with him or anyone else. It was a pleasure talking with Kabu. I've been on our program twice, I think.
All right. From Igneous Lahar, will you get the opportunity to debate the Prime Minister and the opposition leader in the coming election?
I have no idea, Igneous, because that is controlled by the Debates Commission, which is a private entity controlled by the PSOJ. So they will want to control the narrative the same way they exclude the UIC from the evening news. So on any issue you see on the evening news, you're going to see the PNP's position, the GLP's position, full stop. Jamaica only has two political parties as far as the PSOJ and the media houses that they control and the Debates Commission that they control. So they will, I guarantee you, the Debates Commission of Jamaica will exclude the UIC. When I ask you, may I tell you, they will exclude the UIC. Just like how, generally speaking, the news media excludes the UIC. Just like how, generally speaking, the ECJ tried to bar the UIC from becoming a political party in Jamaica. They will do everything possible to stop us. The only way the UIC can succeed is if you and Jamaicans here at home and abroad come together and make sure that the UIC is heavily funded so that we can take the fight to them in the streets. I will go and meet with the people of Jamaica across the country of Jamaica if you fund that enterprise. I can't do it without that. I do not have the resources to get up every day and be like Andrew and Mark, who are being paid by taxpayers to go across the country. I can't do it. I'm going into Kingston tomorrow. I'm going there to represent one of our members in a employment matter, and then I'm going into Clifton area to speak with the people there who have been affected by the Prime Minister's demolition project. All of that takes time away from my work, and it takes money to do all of that. So all those who want to think that it is some magical way that politics, it doesn't happen magically. It takes money. Gas, insurance, repair and maintenance, grocery, rent or mortgage, you name it. Politicians are people too, and if we don't have money, we can't function. The ones working for the PNP and GLP, they get their money from one source, which has an intention and controls them for that intention. We want you to control us. We want the Jamaican people to control us so that we can work for you. Next question.
Not many more questions, just comments. So Shop Boss is saying poor people don't have any money. So in terms of donations, I guess he's saying that they won't be able to donate.
Well, let's talk about that. That is not true, Mr. Harper. Poor people have money. For less than $250 a week, we can all fund the UIC. If every one of us gave $250 a week here in Jamaica, I'm not talking about my friends in a foreign now. If we, the Jamaican people, gave $250 a week or $1,000 a month, okay, poor or not, just avoid doing. If you're not prepared to pay for the Jamaica you want, you're going to get the Jamaica you don't want, because the PSOJ is paying for the Jamaica they want. They are paying. In the last election, the PSOJ paid $330 million to the two parties to fool you. So they're paying for the Jamaica they want. Why? Because when they pay for these two parties make laws and regulations that favor them and disadvantages you. So if you, the Jamaican people, don't want a party that works for you, you can leave funding of parties to the PSOJ, and they will continue to fund two parties to work for them. It is that simple. Next question.
Great point, Mr. Patterson. There are a couple of people trying to make a point of, the funding.
Yeah.
So
go ahead, man. Bring them up on screen. Bring them on screen, and we talk quickly on whichever ones you see.
All right. So when I find it, I'll think there. So Nubian Goddess Nikki is saying that PNP is a dormant party. It's like a graveyard. GLP is doing what they're doing and getting away with it because the opposition is a sitting duck.
Not true. Not true. True. The PNP is not a weak party. The PNP is doing what the powers that be wants them to do. That's why they were so quiet during the COVID era. They're doing what they're told to do, because if they don't do what they're told to do, in the next election, they won't get the allotment of money they need to campaign. Exactly. In due course, the PNP will step up their game, and you will see the ads. They will get the money that they need from the PSOJ and also from others that you and I don't know about. And they're going to get that money, and you're going to see them putting out the ads. They're biding their time. This is how it works in Jamaica. Throughout the history of politics in Jamaica, each party bide their time. So when the JLP was in opposition, they bide their time and they spent their money wisely, and they come up with new advertising techniques, new marketing strategies, and they can pay for that. When you have millions of dollars, you can pay for surveys, for market testing, for PR stunts. You can do you can train your candidates, you can train your leader, you can put on the powder puff and you can get them in front of the cameras. You can pay for your leader to go around the country and pop up at everywhere. You can pay for him to drive in a nice big jeeps to areas and then come out where it's appropriate and roll up him and walk through a river and connect with the common man. All of that can be paid for when you have millions of PSOJ dollars. Okay? So please do not look at the UIC and try to compare us with those two parties and think, where is the UIC? Why aren't they just doing the same thing? We can't do the same thing. We don't have the money. It's that simple. We cannot do it. If we don't have the money, we cannot do it. It is that simple. So do not have any unfounded expectations, any unrealistic expectations that the UIC is going to get up, get out there and run up and down like the other two. We can't do it. We don't have the money. It's that simple. What we're trying to do is to educate you, educate us to come together. You see the handshake that we have on this? It's saying, let us come together and realize Marcus Garvey's dream. His dream was for the black man to realize his plight and to understand that it's only by him uniting against the common enemy that he'll be able to win his freedom. We're not going to win it by hoping that our oppressors will be kind to us or gentle to us. They will do everything to sabotage and destroy the UIC. They've already twisted the minds of some of our former members and have used them to cripple the movement in ways that nobody could do but those on the inside, okay? And they will continue to try all of these strategies. And the longer we take to fund this movement is the harder it is for us to overcome the mountain and be ready when the Prime Minister finally calls the election and say, let's go. Remember, he will know exactly when to call the election because he has the upper hand. We need to be prepared, but we can't be prepared without the funds. Go ahead. What's the next question?
Next question from Walter Jones. What happened to the Constitution Law of 1952, which is the right of the people in Jamaica?
I don't know how to answer that. I have no idea how to answer that. What I know about is the Constitution that we have that came into effect in 1962.
All right, so D is asking, I know you said you don't want funding from big companies, but if you have terms and conditions, they cannot dictate to you if they donate. If not, refuse them.
We have not said we will not take funding from big companies. We said we will not take funding from anyone, big or small, who wishes to change the vision, mission, or values of the UIC. So our vision, mission, and values are fixed. And we have core policies. For example, anybody who wants to tell us not to give the Jamaican people their property rights, we can't take money from them. So anybody who don't believe in and support the right of the Jamaican people to be given what was stolen from their foreparents, the land that belongs to them, if you want to give us $1 billion US and tell us to take back that and not give the people their rights, we can't take your money. We welcome money from everyone, from all legal and legitimate sources, but you cannot change or seek to change our vision, mission, or values. Our 10-point plan is fixed.
That's right. Patriotic vibes, will you, Mr. President, wait, let me see. Lost it a while ago. Consider a car wrapped with the UIC logo and colors?
Yes, man, please. We have a car ready right now. We just need some money to do it. So if you want to donate to wrapping the car, or if you maybe already, if you can just do it for us, you don't have to give us the money. So if you have somebody who can wrap the vehicle for us, we have a vehicle ready that we want to wrap. It already has the speaker system on the top, 4 speakers that I donated. I had that from my previous campaign in 2016. And we put in a lovely sound system in the back with all the stuff there. And I donated a mixer and all of that I had. And some microphones, we're ready. If you can wrap the vehicle for us, we're ready to wrap it. Thank you.
All right, so Kevron is asking, how will UIC address the squatting issue?
Very simple. We're going to make all Jamaicans property owners. So the UIC system is we are going to provide housing for every single family in Jamaica. It will be a right. We're going to make those lands into
Mr. Patterson, you're breaking up. You're breaking up, Mr. Patterson. Hello? All right, it looks as if he's gone again. But to kind of finish answering the question, 20 Chevron. So we're going to make sure that all of Jamaica, or every Jamaican, is a property owner. And so what we're going to be doing is all the crown lands that you hear government talking about, we are going to divest those crown lands. And so the crown lands that are good for agriculture, we're going to set up large farming companies, right? And every Jamaican will have or will be invested in those farming companies. So you'll own shares in that farming company. And then the other lands that are not good for farming, we're going to use to build housing. And we're going to be building up instead of building wide. So we're going to be building like Singapore, really great, good condominiums, apartments that people can buy into. And so they will now be able to own their own land, own property, right? And also own shares in land, in farming land. And as we are moving and shifting into our agricultural, using agriculture as our goal, and using that to export, Jamaican people will now have access to that through dividends. So that's part of our issue and dealing with squatting. Mr. Patterson, you're back. So
wonderful. Sorry about that. The system go already, but I heard you speaking and you did a great job. Thank you for me.
Yeah, man, no problem.
Nicely. So you have covered the issue. So move on to the next one.
Right. Let's see.
All right, no worries. If we can't find any more, that's fine, because we do have to go now. It's 2 hours.
Yeah,
and we have tomorrow a long day ahead of us as well. So let me just take this opportunity to say a big thank you to all of you who came on tonight. And the summary takeaway from this, let's remember the summary takeaway from this. Number one, the Prime Minister used the slavery technique, Panway. Fear, ignorance, and poverty for control the people. He's using the poverty of the people against them. He's using fear against the people, and he's using their ignorance against the people. So we have to stop that. Number two, the land belongs to the people, so they're not squatting. Yes, they might not be in the right particular piece of land, and that is yet to be defined and properly addressed by the government. But they're not squatting. This is so-called crown land, and that land belongs to the people. So it's the government who is wrong. The government is a criminal for not giving the people them land, for not putting a process in place long ago to fix it. And the PNP and GLP has been in power long enough, 78 years, to fix the problem, and they have not fixed the problem. So guess what? The land was stolen from the people by the colonial masters. The government has failed to correct the theft by the colonial masters, and the people are trying to survive. And so they have taken matters into their own hands, and the government has demolished the people's dreams instead of working with the people to address the problem. The UIC as a solution. We're going to follow a similar model as Singapore. They were able to, in 25 years, not only become a first world country, but they have made Singapore where some 93% of their people are property owners. The Jamaican government under the UIC is going to ensure that we get to 98% of our people being property owners. So that means tonight, if you are a young single mother, a father, mother and father, struggling somewhere, you may not have a title to your property yet. You're there somewhere, but you don't have title. Or you don't have anything at all. You're a young man or woman coming out and don't know where you're going to turn. You can't afford anything. The UIC is going to ensure that you are a property owner, and we're doing that within the first year of the first 5 years of our mandate. We're going to make sure that you are on a clear path, irrefutable, that will make you and your family a property owner. We have a plan, and our plan is better than NHD. Our plan is a plan that will respect your sovereignty, Respect your inheritance from your foreparents who have been robbed of their land and their labor, and your government has a responsibility to respect your right to be a property owner. So trust us, depend on us, not only vote for us, but volunteer and join the movement so you can help us to rescue your country and to return to you the land of your birth. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Until next time, remember, one Jamaica, stronger together. All the best. Take care.